Hey guys, Chad Huneycutt here. Today I'm with Dan Kaczynski and we're meeting at Riceville Beach Brewery and we're excited to spend some time together today.
Man, I don't care how long it take me. It take me, how long it take me. Cause I've been working on the daily. The daily, I'm on the daily.
We'll be back in a little bit. We have set up the meeting with a very good friend of mine, Dan Kaczynski. He owns a couple of businesses, but his main business here in Wilmington is called Synergy Point of Sale. So basically, when you go to Riceville Beach Brewery and you buy a beer, eat, whatever you're doing, and your waitress or waiter comes to the table and gives you the bill, you give him or her back a credit card. They take it back to their little cash register machine, and Dan has installed and set all that up for them and services that information so that sales from that ticket item ends up in their bank account. Hello. Hey, how are you? Yeah, my name's Chad Huneycutt. I was meeting Dan. Found the right door. They're waiting on us. Dan's not here yet, but we'll get our stuff.
And I'm a big, I always look at other business people too and say, okay, what are they doing and what qualities do they have and how can I learn something from them
Sure.
for myself and my own business as well?
I agree. What do you think some of those qualities are?
You know, integrity, first and foremost.
Sure.
You know, if you mean what you say and you say what you mean.
It's amazing all the values that our parents try to teach us as kids actually hold true even in the business world, right?
Yeah,
Being honest,
Yeah,
doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, and just work at it and work hard at it and go in every day and do your best.
Sure.
And do your best by your customers.
Yeah, no doubt. When you started your business, your point of sale business, I want you to tell us a little bit more about that. But how did you know that was the business that you wanted to go into?
I started it because I felt like when I was in the restaurant business, I felt like it was an underserved industry. Like
Okay.
it was overpriced and it was underserved.
Okay.
And I felt that there was a real opportunity there for somebody to come in who understood the restaurant business and who understood what was important about these systems that helps restaurateurs.
Sure.
And I felt like I could talk to them because I had been in their shoes before. And I felt like I could deliver a better product at a lower cost and service it better.
Yeah.
It's a piece of machinery just like a refrigerator, in a kitchen. So, if you can explain to them, hey, look, these are the base tools that you need to run your business, and this is going to give you this data, and you can analyze it from this. Then you can get their attention, and then you can
Sure.
say, hey, look, I'm going to give you a great product, and I'm also going to give it to you at a cost that's 40 to 60% less than
What you're
the person over
paying
there
right now.
is.
Yeah. Now, with your business being Synergy Point of Sale, would you say that your niche is the restaurant business?
Definitely restaurant and bar and hospitality. We can venture into retail when we need to. It's probably one of our goals for 2018
Sure.
is to just expand more into retail because we offer a suite of products.
Yeah.
It's not just one product that we offer.
How many of our local restaurants are you currently restaurant bars are you currently working with?
I would say 100 at least.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah.
That is a lot.
And it's not just local either.
Well, these guys here at Riceville Beach Brewery are very grateful. I'm very grateful that they allowed us to meet here. They've been a customer of yours since day one that they opened, right?
That's right, yeah.
Oh.
We were fortunate enough that Judd trusted us enough to do it for him. He was, again, one that asked for my input, not only with the point of sale, but also for how he was going to run his business. It's a
Yeah.
smashing success.
It
This
is.
place is awesome.
How long had you been in the restaurant business prior to starting the point of sale business?
From the time I was 16 until the time I was 33, so
Wow. So you knew the business inside and out, which
yeah, from every aspect, from washing dishes to waiting tables to bartending to managing to being the general manager. Yeah.
do you feel like that experience has brought a great amount of value from you personally to these restaurant owners? Because not only can you set up their point of sale system, but you can also be kind of a consultant to them based on your knowledge and your experience.
And we have done it in the past. We've consulted with them in the past
Yeah.
because they've asked for it and they trusted us, and they obviously can see that we know what we're talking about. It's a pretty simple industry, and I think sometimes a lot of people get distracted
Yeah.
and don't focus on what's really important.
Sure.
So yeah, they trust us.
You mentioned just a minute ago about some of your goals for 2018. When you think about your business and kind of where you've been, where you are, where do you see your point of sale Synergy being in 3 to 5 years?
Definitely expanding into retail. More of an established local presence, that we are the point of sale provider to go to. It's a rapidly changing industry.
Sure.
Particularly with the way credit cards function and credit card security. So it's changing all the time. And we have to be nimble enough to do it. And so we're a small company, we can do that. But definitely to expand our local footprint.
Because we're both in a business that's very regulated, and the rules and the parameters in which we work in seem to change a lot. How big of a change was it for your business when all the credit cards had that little chip on it?
It's still
an issue.
Oh,
It's amazing to me how many times sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know if I'm supposed to swipe or insert or what I'm supposed to do with the card. But
EMV was a earthquake seismic shift in how credit cards are processed, and it's all positive. But the challenges are that you're dealing with software providers, you're dealing with hardware providers, and you're dealing with credit card processors. You're dealing with 3 different entities that all have to somehow communicate. And if you can imagine, there's hundreds of hardware providers, there's thousands of software providers, and there's thousands of processors that all have to get on the same page.
Sure.
And develop technology and develop equipment and develop systems that actually allow this to happen.
Yeah.
And I think what you've seen, particularly in Wilmington, is it's slow to be adopted.
Yeah.
But everybody's not doing it.
I agree.
And they're going to have to.
Sure.
The rubber's going to meet the road here
Of course.
soon enough. But
Do you see, when you think of the landscape of your competitors and what options retail businesses and restaurants have today, is it the Square? It's a couple names that come to my mind: Square, PayPal. I mean, are those guys more tailored towards the smaller mom and pop?
Square is definitely geared towards a small mom and pop food truck type situation where your credit card processing is tied to the machine itself, and that's the biggest issue for most people. Is the credit card rate can be an expense that can really dig into your bottom line if you're not careful about it. And so when you go with companies like Square, you're paying a surcharge for it. You don't realize it.
Right.
You think it's convenient, you think it's free, but it's really not. And so that's our biggest challenge, is to overcome that. To say, hey, look, we can save you X amount of dollars just by having the flexibility of processing
Sure.
that you want to. But yeah, they're a competitor. Aloha Micros, some of these other larger companies, traditional point of sale companies, those are our competitors as well.
Well, I certainly, just from my business, I need to talk to you, because my business and the insurance business, the insurance agency business, our margins are very small. I mean, they're anywhere from 12 to 17%. So we don't use anything right now, because that 3% fee, I mean, that sounds, it's 3%, it's not that much. Well, it is to me, because that's a big nut that I've got to now pay for. So it's not really a service that we've provided. And what we've seen is neither our carriers that our customers are working with, we'll take it, but that fee's added. So if your bill's $500, now it's going to be $600, because we're going to get that fee somewhere.
Yep.
Is the industry as a whole, from what you see, is there any upcharges in the products that they're offering because of the transactional fees that are out there?
No. In fact, I think business owners just realize it and just build it into
cost of doing business.
Build it into their cost when their pricing structure, or just take it as a cost of doing business.
Yeah.
But honestly, many of our clients are cash negative every single day. They have to actually go to the bank and get cash every day, because they'll pay out tips to their employees, and they just don't take in enough cash to cover all of that, which is odd.
That is odd, because it's certainly not like, I remember my dad, he used to always have what he called walk around money. He always had a few $100s with him. He just called it walk around. He didn't know when he was going to need it. He wasn't planning on buying anything, but he just felt like he needed it. And here, in my day, I hardly ever have cash. If I do, it's like a 5 or 10 or 20 maybe.
20.
Usually my kids, they grab that and it's gone before I even have a chance to enjoy it. But actual current cash currency seems to be something that's our generations and the generations to come are using less and less of.
Particularly in the restaurant business.
Really?
Everybody uses a card.
With your business, and this would be some good advice for any young entrepreneurs out there, but how long in your business and your journey of entrepreneurship, did you feel like you wore every hat in the company?
Oh, wow. Well, when I first started the business, I started with 0 customers.
Okay.
So I
And
had to
0
go
employees?
And 0 employees.
Yeah.
So I was that person. I was the 24-hour tech support. I was the installer. I was the salesperson. I was the trainer. I was
Yeah.
the everything.
Right.
For about, probably 2 years.
Yeah.
I was one-man gang.
I think a lot of the younger aspiring business owners today, whether they're in college, they're shortly out of college, everybody thinks there's this immediate gratification to owning a business. And like you said, I remember being the accountant, the bookkeeper, the bathroom cleaner, the janitor. We did it all. My wife and I, and Tara and I, we did it all for a few years until we were able to overcome the anxiety of hiring that first employee and knowing that can we grow the business by bringing on additional expenses? And that's a challenge for a lot of business owners.
One of my clients, one of my longtime clients, gave me some very sound advice. He said, "You're never going to be able to work on your business if you're working in your business."
Yeah.
But you're right. There is an anxiety when you have to go and out and hire somebody,
Sure.
and you have to trust that person to do the job that you were doing, and then train them and make sure that they're going to do the job well.
You mentioned the next customer will be there because somebody's going to refer you. Is that the number one source of your new business? Is referrals from other clients? How do you grow your business and seek out new customers?
Outside salespeople help.
Sure.
Referrals help. Our biggest challenge, referrals is a very large part of how we do it. We have other mechanisms in place, social media, things like that, non-traditional advertising. Our biggest challenge is to acknowledge that our potential customer is most likely going to be a self-discoverer. They're going to go out and look for the products themselves without being face-to-face with a salesperson. Mm-hmm. And our job is to find out how to get our name in front of them in their journey of self-discovering of who they want as their point of sale.
And how are you doing that right now?
Social media right
Really?
now. And then internet searches and Google searches.
Are you using... Clearly, you've got your website, and there's the SEO, organic SEO part of that. But are you doing the Facebook ads and things like that as well, and just being
that's part of what we do.
Yeah.
So whenever we go into a market, say for example, we can have to go we're in Charlotte doing an install in Charlotte. We're suddenly putting our footprint there and using that in social media to say, okay, well, let's see if we can generate some
interest. Come do it. Yeah.
And again, the strategy is that our customers in Charlotte, we want to take care of them as if they're our next door neighbor.
Right.
So that they feel great about referring us to another
Sure.
customer.
Like how much of a stretch was it for you to take your business outside of the footprint of where you live?
It was a neat experience because what happened was we got involved with a local franchise here that started to expand very rapidly.
Okay.
And that was part of the impetus that said, hey, we can actually do this outside of our hometown.
Right.
We can go we went to Houston, we went to Panama City, we went to Ohio.
Okay.
And we said, how are we going to do this so this customer's never going to see a difference between working with somebody locally or working with us? And moreover, how are we going to overwhelm them with service so that they're like, well, I wouldn't make a choice any other way.
Right.
So, and so it was definitely a learning experience, but you think it through and you say, okay, if this thing happens or this eventuality happens, well, how do we respond?
Yeah, I've noticed the same thing. The amount of customers that I meet with eyeball to eyeball today versus the amount of customers I met with eyeball to eyeball 10 years ago, it's unbelievably changed. We rarely see them. Everything is through emails or DocuSign. We use electronic signatures now for just about 99% of our applications. It worries me a little bit because that makes creating that connection, that relationship, a little more challenging, but it's still something that we have to work at each and every day and figure out, which to me I think puts such an emphasis on the little things, like returning their phone call, answering their emails completely. When they send you a list of questions, don't just answer one and reply. Like, take time, take those extra 10 seconds because they may save you 10 hours later on. Let me ask you this next question because it's something that's, as I moved into the new year, and I'm not really a big New Year's resolution person because I feel like most of those are out the window and, by February 1st. But there were some things that I committed to do this year that I know work for me because I've done them in the past, but maybe just through the busyness of life, I've kind of let some of them go. And for me, a part of that was a morning routine. Where I like to get up at a certain time. I like to have an hour or so to exercise, to read, just to kind of jumpstart my day. Is there anything unique about your morning routine that you think kind of helps you prepare you?
I would say that our morning routine is we spend more time in the morning together than we do in the evening or any other part of the day, because it seems like as the day goes on, whether it's
you're pulled in so many
or
yeah.
My wife works late or whatever it happens to be, that that evening time is very hard to find. So that morning time is probably the most that we just spend together.
Yeah,
just
you and Renee,
and Connor too.
Yeah.
Just with a cup of coffee, and we'll watch a little bit of news, and of course we'll shout at the television or whatever it is that's bothering us, and then get ready. And I take my son to school every day, which is a real blessing, which is a real. I hope he understands how neat that is.
Sure.
I get 15 minutes with him.
Yeah.
Where we can just sit in the
I do the same thing. It's part of our routine is that I take the kids to school in the morning, and that's, a lot of time I don't get much out of them, but at least I'm trying. If it's a Monday morning, and for instance, Super Bowl, we had some people at the house, we had a big time, and then Monday morning rolls around, and they're like, "Do we really have to go to school?"
Why isn't this a holiday?
Yeah, right, exactly. I did hear that. Actually, from my 11-year-old daughter, why is Monday after Super Bowl not a holiday? Well, it's
Can we start the game at 1?
Yeah, it's a great point. Let me ask you this. Who in your life has, and look, I'm going to say top 3. If there's not 3 people you want to throw in there, that's fine. But what are the top 3 people in your life that influenced you the most?
Oh, top of the list has to be my mother and father.
Yeah.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah.
My father, I'll speak to him first.
Mm-hmm.
A teacher for 35, 38 years.
Sure.
Always took the worst students that the school had to offer because he felt like he could make the biggest change. Would paint houses, interior and exterior, on weekends, on long weekends and holidays, so we could have a little extra money to travel.
Yeah.
Because travel was a really important part for him.
It's still important to you. You carry on that legacy now.
Yeah, it's life changing. Just a fantastically hardworking, integrity bound man who, if I show up as half the man he was,
Sure.
I'm okay. So,
Yeah.
Mother was the same way. She went to college at a time when it wasn't the thing to do for women.
Mm-hmm.
Went to college, educated herself, was a small business owner, very successful small business owner, was a teacher for a short time too. She was actually my nursery school teacher. So just 2 really great examples of hardworking people who just did what they had to do to try to get ahead.
Put everybody around them first.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a paper boy from the time I was 11 until probably 15. And that's job. Awesome. I wish that job still exists and was still feasible. I wish people still read the newspaper, and I wish they still had to deliver it.
Every once in a while, it's great to hold something in your hand and read it.
Because that was a 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-week job.
Sure.
Where you had to get up in the mornings on the weekends. So whether you had baseball practice or something, you had to get this done before. On Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, you had to get up and deliver the newspapers to all of your customers.
Wow.
And the neatest part about it, not only was it a commitment for every single day, but the neatest part about it was you had to collect your own money if you wanted to get paid.
Right.
And I don't know if people remember this, but you had to go door to door and collect the monthly dues.
Was it monthly? I was going to ask.
Or weekly, and then because you had to pay the newspaper company their money, and then if somebody was not home or you had to, they turn out the lights as soon as you rang the doorbell because they didn't want to pay for the newspaper. You had to figure out a way around that.
Sure.
So that was. I wish that job still exists because it would create more entrepreneurs.
And it does make you get creative. Forces you to get very creative about that, like collecting the money. Man, I can't imagine all the ways you had to go.
Well, you couldn't do it at the same time every week because they would know.
They know, yeah.
So you had to switch it up. And
that's funny. I was, even from a very early, I'm thinking back, definitely either end of middle school, going into high school was like, I started walking the neighborhood asking people, can I mow your lawn? Can I rake your leaves? Can I wash your cars? So very early on, I remember being very entrepreneurial minded, even before that word was a a word. You know, I always had that drive to go make some extra cash for myself because I grew up in very humble means. Mom and Dad didn't have extra.
We didn't get an allowance.
Yeah.
So any money that
My
I
allowance
wanted to
was
make,
rent. Like
Yeah.
you do these things because you're living here. Having a young son growing up in your household, what type of business lessons do you feel like you're trying to implore upon him?
business and life lessons, definitely just to tell him that he gets only the opportunity.
Yeah.
He doesn't get anything more than that.
Yeah.
Whatever station he feels like he's in life, he's only given an opportunity to try to do something with that. If he
Sure.
doesn't take advantage of that,
Yeah.
you try to impart to them, hey, I realize at 13 that you don't know this, but there is going to come a day when you have to realize that if you didn't seize these opportunities, then your life might not be as good as it could have been.
Right.
So that, and we take the same approach. He doesn't get an allowance.
Yeah.
If he wants to make money, he's got to come
Oh, well,
cut the
we do.
grass at my office, or cut the grass at home, or
Sure.
clean mom's car, or do something.
We agree.
Something like that.
We agree with that. Let me close in asking you this. If you could go back and talk to 20-year-old Dan, what advice would you give him today?
That's a very difficult question to answer, because I do feel uncommonly blessed, and I'm uncommonly grateful for all that I have. So it's hard to say that. The question almost implies that you have some type of regret, which is definitely not true.
Right.
I think what I would say is be present more in each moment, so that it goes by very fast.
Yeah.
Particularly when you have children. And I think that would probably be, if I could change one part of my personality, would be to stay more in the moment,
Yeah.
more present for everything.
I
whether
can
it's-
certainly relate to that.
That's probably it. To have that consciousness better developed.
Yeah. I feel like we enter into those early 20s, especially if you're business minded, and you feel like you have to accomplish a lifetime's worth of work in 3 to 5 years. And it's just not the case. I mean, you accomplish what you can and you work as hard as you can, but the reality of it is part of the reason you will become what you will become is because of that journey that you took, not because of some great nugget that you took from a book you read.
It's very much a process. You're exactly right. And you think it's going to be quicker than it is, that your success or anything. And what you realize is if you show up every day and give your best,
That's right.
day after day after day after day, it is a longer journey, but it's more rewarding because it's sustainable. And when you get to a certain point where you can actually look back for just a second and say,
Sure.
wow, I've kind of accomplished something.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
I got
really
you
cool.
going, but
Yeah, I'm a firm believer, and this is just in my business and in life and with my kids, is that consistency leads to success.
Yeah.
And if you consistently do the right things, the little things, it will lead to success. But you got to do it every day.
What's funny is that mantra, we're sitting in Wrestle Beach Brewery, that mantra is the thing that I stress to all of my restaurateurs, the clients that I have, is that consistency. Do the same thing every day.
Right.
Do it to the same level, whether it's the service, whether it's the quality of food, and if you do it, you're going to be an amazing success, because a lot of people can't do it every day.
You're exactly right. Dan, thank you.
Thanks.
Enjoyed it, man. Thanks for your time.
Cut.
Can we get one of those things? Slates?
Amazon, coming up.